I have my Nick and Judy sweater on and my Judy ears on, so that means it is time to share my updated Zootopia pin collection. And yes, this sweater is from the children's clearance section of Target, but it is also the softest sweater I've ever worn. So Zootopia is my primary movie-related pin collection, and I've been collecting Zootopia for about a year now, and my shadow box is currently filled to the brim with pins. So I'm excited to share now all of my Zootopia collection. Alright, so let me just start with a whole overview of my shadow box here. So I actually got this shadow box at Goodwill, and it was kind of junky. You can't really see it, but there's a few dents around it, but I just painted it black. And then the background is just some corrugated plastic like they use for yard signs, covered with a piece of teal fabric, and that works as a really sturdy corkboard. Up at the top here, I have this set of little Zootopia figurines from the Disney store. I got them from my outlet when they were on super clearance. This here is a little cute Clawhauser keychain I found on eBay for like 75 cents. And this one here is a Junior Zootopia Officer pin badge. These were from a Disney store event when the movie was being released. And then I also have one other Zootopia Officer pin badge. This was what I used for my Halloween costume as Judy Hopps. So I'm going to take the pins out of the case, and I'll kind of go by them in the series that they belong to. Now that it's out of the glass case without the glare of that, I'm just going to do a little sweep over of all of these pins here. I'm really happy I was able to fit my most recent ones into this shadow box because it already seemed pretty full, but I somehow puzzle-pieced everything in, and now I think we're absolutely at max capacity here. So the first set of pins that I'm starting off with are the Zootropolis cinema pins. These, at least according to PinPics, were released at cinemas in the Netherlands via raffles, but I got this Nick and the Zootropolis police badge through a trade on PinPics with a UK trader, and then I actually found this Judy on eBay for only $6 or $7. But normally these guys are pretty rare and expensive. So I think this Nick is really neat, just a full big face of him. Got a little bit of his shirt collar peeking out, and then a matching Judy head with it. And then the Zootropolis police badge, because in Europe the movie wasn't called Zootopia, because I believe there is an actual zoo called Zootopia, but it's known by Zootropolis over there. Next I have all the US Open Edition Zootopia pins. And there's only 4 of them, so I really wish they'd come out with more OEs. I think this may have been the first OE out, and you know it has multiple origins. It might have been a UK release and a Shanghai Disney release. And I'm not sure if this is still out at the US parks. It's only sometimes showing as in stock on the Shop Parks app. But this features a cartoon stylized Nick and Judy running through a little Zootopia cityscape, and Nick and Judy are a pin-on-pin there. These next 3 pins are part of an open edition series that came out together. This one has Judy with a bunny best friend at the bottom, and you're going to see a lot of pins that have the Zootopia police crest shape to them. The Nick Wilde one has a little arrow pointing at him that says Sly Guy. And we have Flash the Sloth with Chill Dude. I don't really know why they chose this as a slogan for Flash. I think they could have chosen something a little bit more apt to the movie. Next, I have this series of Hong Kong Open Edition pins, and these are just some of the most beautiful pins out there. They are so glittery, so shiny. And I think these were actually amongst the first Zootopia pins that I got. Again, with the police crest badge shape, you have Nick Wilde here. Just tons of beautiful blue glitter in the background, and then just such a shiny, nice finish to it. There's the matching Judy here, and her background is all yellow glitter, and then even her little outfit is all sparkly blue glitter. And then finally, you have Nick and Judy in a little Zootopia blimp, and they swivel back and forth here. And then again, of course, the blimp is just filled with sparkly, beautiful red glitter, with a lovely shiny finish to it. Here are another Hong Kong Open Edition set, and they are from the Emoji Mystery Tin. So there were a number of pins in that set, and they're all styled after the Emoji Blitz game. So this one actually features a bit of a scared looking Nick Wilde. And then you have a nice Judy Hopps with some beautiful blue glitter on her hat. We're going to be in Hong Kong for a little bit more time. These are the Nick and Judy pins from the Magical Access exclusive teacup series, so I think these would count as limited release pins. And no surprise here, just more beautiful sparkly shiny glitter, and then just another beautiful Judy to go along with it. The final pins that I have from Hong Kong are all the limited edition Zootopia pins from there. And I think these pins have some of the most unique designs out of any of the Zootopia pins. We have this Judy Hopps pin, and she is part of the Hong Kong Disneyland Train series that was released earlier this year. She's a limited edition of only 300. And so with these trains, you can actually link them all together like that. And it actually has a super thick 3D or rubberized element on there. And then Judy's busy taking some important notes. This pin has got to be one of my absolute favorites. It's from the My Dreaming series in Hong Kong, and it's a limited edition of 500. You have Judy hugging her carrot pen, sleeping, and she's thinking of Nick Wilde. And this thought bubble is super neat because it's raised up and has a plastic topper on it, and some really nice pearlescent glittery fill there. And this is in a soft enamel style, so the lines are a little bit finer and everything's got a beautiful epoxy finish. And then finally, one of the biggest pins I have here, this is from the Hong Kong Disneyland Sports series from 2016. These pins are so cool because they look like actual medals. It's like that's a full legitimate medal ribbon there. And then you have this medal at the bottom, and it is just so awesome. Because this artwork is so unique, you're not going to see any other pin that's like this. And this features Nick and Judy running to the finish line. They're a pin-on-pin there along with the Hong Kong Disneyland logo. You gotta put a little bit of glitter in there too. This one is super awesome, but it's a limited edition of 500. We're going to stick overseas for my Japan and Japan Disney Store Zootopia pins. This pin here was a recent release from the Disney Store Japan. It was a series of a few of these pins that were kind of in the small style. This one shows the Zootopia police badge. This pin that features Nick and Judy back to back was part of a limited release Disney Store Japan anniversary box set. It was celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Disney Store Japan. This is another Zootopia pin that I absolutely love. So this one doesn't actually come from Disney Store Japan. This one comes from the Magic of Disney Art of Animation Museum exhibit. So at that exhibit, they released a framed pin set featuring movie artwork from movies all the way back to classic up to present. And this is the Zootopia one from that set. I think it's awesome because you have a collection of almost all of the characters from Zootopia on this. We still have one more international park to go, and that would be Disneyland Paris. This is the one and only open edition released from Disneyland Paris. They really need to release more Zootopia OEs, but I really like this one because you have the full-bodied characters there, and then they actually have screen printed all of the detail on Nick Wilde's shirt. I definitely say that's a hallmark of Paris pins. They have a lot of screen printed elements on there, which adds some extra detail. I then have all of the Disneyland Paris Zootopia Pin Trading Night pins. Luckily, I was able to get them all through trades. This is the first set here that was released about a year ago now. These pins are all limited edition of 400. The first one here features Judy Hopps on it. Then you have Nick Wilde, and again, they have the really nice detailing on his shirt. And Chief Bogo. And then this was the new set of pins released that I just got in a trade. This series features Flash the Sloth, Yax the Yak, and Finnick. What I did notice is that with these new Paris Pin Trading Night pins, they don't have the additional blue screen printing around it. I don't know what series they stopped doing the outline for, but I definitely wish that this new series had the outline so that they could look the same. Alright, so that was all of my International Parks Zootopia pins. You may notice that the one park I'm missing is Shanghai Disneyland. Shanghai Disneyland has a series of Zootopia Hidden Mickeys, which I would love to get so much, but they are incredibly rare and almost impossible to find. So I definitely hope I can get them one day, but I think we're just going to have to be a little bit patient. Okay, so next up I have my Disney Store Zootopia pins. This pin is a limited release and was part of the Disney Store's 30th anniversary pin sets. This features little Frou Frou the Shrew sitting on a donut. And I then have the Zootopia box set of pins, and these are a limited edition of 800. So I guess this is technically the Zootropolis box set. They had it available both for the US and the UK Disney Store. The reason why I have this Zootropolis set is because this was an outrageous retail price. You can see this was €75 and I think it was about $75 US. which for 3 pins, which are LE800, is absolutely ridiculous. And so I think this ended up sitting in the UK Disney store for quite a while, and the price got marked down, and I actually found this on eBay for 35 bucks, and it shipped over from the UK, which I think is a much more reasonable price. And there's nothing that's different about this series than the US Disney store, except that this box says Zootropolis. So these pins are actually pretty small, but they all feature neat pin-on-pin designs. This one has Judy in front of the Zootopia police crest. You then have this cutie little Mr. Big with his polar bear bodyguards behind him. And then you have Nick Wilde and Finnick dressed as an elephant with a popsicle. I love the design of this one. The only unfortunate thing about this is that this Nick and Judy from this set have been very heavily faked, and they're all over eBay for super cheap. Mr. Big from the set was not scrapped, so basically the only time you'll ever see Mr. Big is when it's actually from a set or if somebody broke up their set. But basically, all of these Nick and Judys you see floating on eBay are counterfeits, and there's actually a pretty easy way to tell with this one. So this Nick Wilde pin, even to start off with, it's not the greatest quality, but the fakes are all missing the white enamel from his eye here. You'll see that on the fakes, and the fakes, they don't take the photos very well because they probably don't want people to see, but fake versions of the Nick are missing the little white enamel there. And there's also one other way to tell on the fakes of this one. The placement of the pin-on-pin is actually offset, so with the fakes you can actually see the popsicle stick and the pink that's sticking down, whereas the leg fully covers the popsicle stick there. Judy's, however, just from the photos that the counterfeit sellers use online, I haven't been able to notice any distinct differences, but I'm sure if you got it in person you'd be able to tell what actually is off with her. So that's just a warning for these. If you are looking for authentic versions, do try and find one where Mr. Big is coming with it. There has so far only been 2 limited edition Walt Disney World pin releases. Both of them feature Judy. This one is an LE500 and was from the 2017 Flower and Garden Festival, and this came from a 4-pack of pins, each character holding a different vegetable, and of course you got Judy Hopps here with her carrot. Pin here, another absolutely amazing one, was from the Love is an Adventure pin event in August, and this one is an LE300. Here Judy has a free D big donut that she's saving from little teeny Frou-Frou the Shrew there. This was from the Love is Strength box set. I have the one cast member exclusive limited release Zootopia pin. This one has the cartoon Judy, basically the same artwork that was on the Hong Kong Open Edition, and this one she's saying don't even. This one is probably right up there with a huge Hong Kong race medal pin for largest pin. And this one features Assistant Mayor Bellwether, and this is actually a WDI Walt Disney Imagineering pin from the Zodiac series, and this is a limited edition of 250. Mayor Bellwether is a pin-on-pin element there, and this is such a huge, hefty, thick pin. So we're going to close this out with my Disney Studio Store Hollywood Zootopia pins. At least in terms of the pins that I want, I'm missing the most pins that were released from the Studio Store because those pins, especially with the Zootopia ones, they've gotten really expensive. And you'll notice I have no Zootopia PTDs or Pin Trader Delights. I kind of resigned myself to the fact of just not trying to collect them because PTDs just normally are just crazy to collect and crazy expensive. The Zootopia ones have skyrocketed in price, especially the Nick Wilde. When I made my original pin collection video, I had mentioned at the end, like, oh, Nick Wilde's value has, like, unfairly gone up. And at that point, it had, like, gone up to, like, $80 or so. Now his value is, like, $230. So I basically resigned myself to just, like, that's not happening. Judy has also been very expensive, but there's been a lot of fakes of her PTD appearing. So it's possible that her value will drop quite a lot, but then it's also going to be more difficult to find an authentic version. They do have a Chief Bogo PTD, which is definitely coming down in price. I think that'll be attainable soon. And then they also just released Mayor Lionheart PTD. But anyways, with the pins that I do have here, these 2 pins here were part of the original Zootopia pin release. I definitely would like to get the rest of the pins from that release. I don't really care too much about the marquee, but we have this Chief Bogo here, and I think this is really neat because it's a pin-on-pin, but the way the enamel is done for this is recessed and kind of a bit more of a soft enamel. So it's a really neat style, and it's a limited edition of 400. And then you have a full body version of Yak's the Yak, also a limited edition of 400. These two pins were more recent releases and were part of my Zootopia pin haul video. This one was part of the postcard series. It features a pin-on-pin of Judy with the Zootopia cityscape in the background saying, "Wish you were here, Zootopia." This is a limited edition of just 300. This one was from the Sign series and features a full-body Judy, again with the Zootopia cityscape in the background there, and then on the walk sign it looks like you got a little outline of Nick Wilde there. This one is also LE 300. Phew, there you go. There is all of my Zootopia pins. Hopefully that wasn't too awfully long to make it through. I do also have one more Zootopia pin coming to me in the mail. It is from Japan, and it's this pin here. I'll put a photo of it. I should have had it by now, but the eBay seller in Japan didn't ship it for like 2.5 weeks. So that'll be coming within this month, but that also probably means that that is gonna fully max out the capacity of my shadow box, and I might have to look into getting a bigger one, or maybe I'll try and put some pins around the edge. Like I said, there's actually very few Zootopia pins I'm missing that I don't have. I'd love the Shanghai Hidden Mickey series. It'd be great to have some more of the Disney Studio Store pins. There was also a mystery pin set from the Disney Store Japan, but those pins are really tiny and they're just an epoxy coated image in the stylized artwork. I'm not really a fan of them, so I don't have any of them. I don't really have any desire. I also don't have or really need / want any of the AMC Stubbs pins. So I'll call myself nearly Zootopia complete in the things that I want. But thank you so much for watching.